Hey guys, so over the weekend I made this beautiful summer backless dress. If you're interested in it, please watch the video to the end and don't forget to share, like and also subscribe after watching. So without wasting much of our time, let's get started. Okay, so for us to make this summer dress, we'll be using this soft Ankara fabric for this tutorial. But if you want to make yours, I would advise that you use a light crepe, or let's say a satin material, any material that is soft but in 60 inches by length. Okay, so in that way you'll be having a full circle when you want to cut out your dress. But I'm just using this because this is what I have available and I really needed to shoot this tutorial. So yeah, so when you want to make yours, make sure your fabric is by 60 in length and your fabric is soft. So let's go ahead to fold our fabric in a bias form like this. So what I'm doing right now is folding my fabric in a bias form. So go ahead and fold yours. So the next thing that we are going to do after arranging my fabric is to determine my neckline. And for the neckline, I'm going to divide my shoulder measurement into two. I have 7 inches after dividing my shoulder measurement, and I also go ahead to add like 2 inches for stitching allowance by the sides of my dress. I'm using 1 inch boots for the sides of my dress, so I'm going ahead to look for that 9 inches area. Place your tape, so you'll be coming down until you have shoulder measurement plus 2 inches allowance. So just exactly where you have it, like what I did, I placed my tape on exactly the 9 inches area. Now we are going to connect the both sides together with a curve. I'll come up again by extra 1.5 inches. With this, I'm going to be using it to make a casing for our rope. So make sure when you're creating your neckline here, make sure you bend your hand and curve it. So in this case, when you cut out your neckline, you're going to have a circled neckline, like it's going to be curved. If you do not, you'll be having something like a sharp V. So from that second line, you'll be coming down to the full length of your dress. So for me, the full length of my dress is going to be 35 inches. So look at the way I placed my tape on the second line. Please come down to mark the full length of your dress. Just make sure your tape is placed where at the center. Let the tape just remain there. Place it there and mark the full length of your dress all the way around. Now we'll go ahead and cut it out. So just watch exactly what I'm doing and cut out yours as well. After I'm done cutting out the circle on the bottom, I'm coming up to the neckline. So this time you're cutting it from the first line. Make sure you're curving your hand just the way you marked it. So we'll now go ahead to open it up, and this is all for the front pattern. So see how it looks curved by the time you open it up. So we'll go ahead to cut out the back pattern. So I already placed my front on the back on the fabric like this. Fabric is also folded on the bias form. So like as you can see, my fabric is not enough to give me that full circle at the back, but that is not a problem. I'll be going ahead to join it after now. So now we'll place our tape on the neckline on the front pattern like this. So from that neckline now, place your tape and come down to your waistline. So your shoulder to waist measurement is what we are going to be using. So for me, my shoulder to waist measurement at the back is 15 inches. So I went ahead to mark 15 inches, but I didn't realize that it might be too open, like too deep. So I'm coming up again by extra 1 inch. So if you don't want it to be too deep, you can come up by extra 1 inch. After I was done with that, I added 1.5 inches for my casing for my elastic. So I came up again by 1.5 inch, and by the time I removed all my allowances, I realized that I had come down by 12.5. So basically from that shoulder area, or the neckline from the top, you're coming down by 12.5 inches, and just curve it to meet the other mark you have at the other part of the dress. So basically, if you're following my pattern, I'm coming down by 12.5 inches. So just make a notch. This is the front part, so you're not going to cut the front parts. You're rolling this line at the front part just so you can make a notch at the side, not the folded part. Okay, so just go ahead and make a notch at the side, so that you will know that that is the waist area by the time you want to join it. Now we are going to open it up because I had held it down with my pin. So you want to ensure that you remove all your safety pins. Now go ahead to indicate that same line on the back part of our dress. So just mark on it, open it up, and make a curved line. Please make sure your line is not straight. So any straight line that is done on a bias folding usually comes out as a deep V. So make sure you curve your line. That's the only way you're going to have it curved by the time you open it up. So this is now the back pattern. So after I was done, I'm going ahead to just cut out my my circle at the bottom part. Regardless of whether the fabric is enough or not, I'm just going to cut it out. After I'm done, I'll do something about it. I'll go ahead to join it with my fabric. So yeah, so by the time you have a fabric that is by 60 in length, you will not be having this issue, but that's not a problem. I just hope you understand what is going on, because that's the most important thing here. So this is how mine looks because the fabric is not enough, but no problem. I'll be going ahead to join it and I will show you. Now, after I've gone ahead to join with my other parts pieces, this is how it looks. So I'm going to give it a good press, and that would not be a problem anymore. So right now we are going to start with the back. So we're going ahead to make a casing for our elastic with the 1.5 inches, which I have already done here. So this is how it looks. So right now we are going to be adding our elastic casing to the back. So what you're going to do is to divide your waist measurement into two, and mine is 27 divided by 2. I have about 13 and a half. So I'm going ahead to cut that 13 and a half on the elastic, and I'll just go ahead to put it in the casing that I have created. So go ahead to divide your waist measurement into two. Whatever you have, cut it on your elastic band, and just go ahead to put it on that casing. So make sure when you're folding your the back, when you're folding that casing for your elastic, make sure it's wide enough to have your elastic in it, okay, so that you don't struggle. So I'm going ahead to just add my elastic. So when working with elastic, pin is not one thing you can do without, because you'll be needing pins to hold it from both ends to the other end. So right now that is what I'm doing. So I'm using my pins to secure it at the other end, and once I'm done with it, I'll be also using pins again to secure it at the other end as well. So yeah, you'll definitely be needing pins to work with. So we are done now with the elastic, and this is how it looks. So you have this shrinking effect by the time you're done with the back, and that is what elastic does, okay? So it's fine. Now we're going to be joining our dress together. So I'll be bringing the front parts so that we can join the dress together. Now remember that area you notched on the front part that I told you to notch. That is where you're going to align to the waist area of the back. Remember, the waist is the beginning of the back, so that area you notched is where you're going to join together on the dress. Now I'll go ahead to hold it down with my pins, secure it down with my pins. Now you do the same at the both sides. Remember, on the notched area, okay, so because that is where it indicates the waist area of your dress. If you do not do that, your dress is not going to be aligned properly, and you would not want that. So make sure to align it properly and go ahead to trim off all the rough edges, the threads and the elastic after sewing. Okay, now before you go ahead to join your dress, you want to ensure that the elastic is the length you want it to be. At this point, we've not joined it on the sides yet, it's still holding it with the pin, so be sure that the elastic is the length you want it to be. So next thing is to stitch down the sides of our dress using 1 inch. That 1 inch allowance you gave, you're going to stitch it, turn it to the wrong side, turn it towards the wrong side, and stitch the sides of the dress. After doing the top part, before you go all the way down to the bottom of the dress, so basically you're stitching from that shoulder, the front part, the top, all the way to the down. So I hope you understand. So I'm going to do that on my sewing machine, and I'll come back and show you. So after I was done, this is how it looks. I've gone ahead to stitch down the side of my dress on both sides. After I was done with that, I'm going ahead to cut out all the excess elastics that I have. So you want to ensure that your elastic is the size you want, so that by the time you put on the dress, it's holding firmly. And after I was done with that, I realized that one side of my dress became longer, the front part is longer, so I'm just going ahead to use my scissors to trim off the bottom of my dress to ensure that all sides are equal. So while you're doing that, if yours is like mine and you want to trim off, make sure to align the dress properly, so that by the time you're trimming off, you don't have issues. So you want to ensure that the back is aligned, like the back waist is starting from where it should. So because sometimes this is a circle dress, if you do not handle or place it properly, you always want to cut out too much excess. So you want to align your dress properly while you're cutting out. So so that you do not have issues while you're trimming off. So I'm going ahead to cut off all my excesses, and after I was done, this is how it looked. It now looks final now. So on the neck region of our front part, I'm now going to create my casing for our rope. This is where we are going to be adding our rope. So that 1.5 inches extra that we came up by when cutting, so I've gone ahead to fold it towards the back and create the casing for our rope. So I already have my rope here, so you can just create a rope, a tiny bit but not too tiny, a rope that is going to fit into that. You can use 35, depending on the length you want it. You can make it as long as 35, 30, even to 40. So now that we are done with our rope, we are going to turn over to the right side and see how the dress looks. I'm so sorry, up to this moment I haven't pressed because I didn't have light while I was working on this dress. But so it's very important you iron. I'm so sorry I'm not leading by example. I'm really so sorry, but I couldn't have it any other way. So this is the final outcome of our dress. As for the hemline, I'm just going to weave on it before I finish it up, using ½ inch to turn it to the wrong side and just finish up the hemline. Okay, so this is how it looks. So if you like this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up. Do not forget to share this video to your friends and to your loved ones. And if you are yet to subscribe after watching, please do well to do so, and I'm going to see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.